Hello, I'm Christopher Thompson. Welcome to Movie Time. Okay, we usually have fun with this, and this one's a little less fun and a little bit more serious. I'm reviewing it because I just saw this movie and I really enjoyed it. It's a made-for-TV movie from 1987 called Strange Voices. So yes, it's a retro review. It stars Nancy McKeon. If you're old enough to remember The Facts of Life, she starred as Jo from The Facts of Life. And also we have starring Valerie Harper. She goes way back to the Mary Tyler Moore Show as the character Rhoda. Later on, Rhoda spun off into her own show, and she also had a show called Valerie, which eventually became the Hogan Family in the 80s. Okay, so it's starring these two people, and this is where it's serious. This is part movie review and part discussion about mental illness. If you know me, you know about me. I'm bipolar. I suffer from mental illness, and my girlfriend also suffers from mental illness, and I have family members that suffer from it, and members that don't have it that have suffered because of me, and which I apologize for now, because this movie not only, okay, I'll break it down. If you're expecting a great movie, this isn't it. If you're expecting a big blockbuster, well, it's definitely not that. If you're expecting a thriller with all these twists, it's not it. If you're expecting the best drama of all times, this is not it. What this is, though, is something very rare, which is movies showing a very realistic take on mental illness, because usually in movies, and this is what we're all of us now, people who have mental illness are trying to fight this stigma, and there's always been the stigma, and this movie deals with that a little bit, though, but in the movies were either something to laugh at. Mental illness is either something to laugh at or something to be afraid of. Either we're goofy and we're something to be made fun of, or, oh my god, I saw a slasher flick, so everyone who's got mental illness is gonna be a slasher. Well, that's crazy, saying that there's millions of Americans, probably more, because it's not reported, that have suffered in their life at least of some kind of mental illness, be it depression or whatnot. But anyways, this movie is specifically about schizophrenia. Okay, so Nancy McKeon stars as Nikki, and Nikki's a college student. She's a bright college student. She's all about college. She's doing her classes, doing everything right. She's She's an architecture student, and she's entering this design for some contest and everything. And everything's fine until she starts having problems and starts hearing voices and starts things. And this is done in a very realistic, not cartoony way that is usually portrayed by Hollywood. I really liked it. It dealt not only with schizophrenia the way it is, and I think Nancy McKeon did a great job of playing someone with schizophrenia. I don't even know. I mean, it's hard enough dealing with mood swings for me, but these people who hear voices, oh my god, I don't know how they don't kill themselves. I mean, wow, and it really shows where she goes from and this has happened, because this is what happened to me, okay, I went to the military, and that kind of probably added to what caused me to end up bipolar, but who knows, I might have already been before, but you're fine, and usually most people are fine until they're like 18, 19, 20, right around there. I was 19 when all hell broke loose, and so she's in that age bracket, and she suddenly freaks out in class. She gets paranoid and thinks that her boyfriend and her friend are having an affair when they're not. She's paranoid, and then she starts hearing voices, and it goes with the struggles of her parents first take her to the doctor because she totally freaks out at their house and like throws the computer through the window. And so they take her, and the doctor basically tells her she's schizophrenic, and at first they're not hearing it. It can't be that. She's normal. She's not this and that. And it goes through, the dad really doesn't want to accept it. And the mom's like, okay, we'll give her these pills and stuff. And like anything, a lot of people with illnesses don't want to take their pills. I have gone through that and learned my lesson big time on that. Obviously, my friends back in California know that I'm not going to get into the time I decided not to take my pills, because that was horrible. But anyways, so she didn't want to take her pills, and that causes a lot more problems. Basically, then they go, and the mom just can't deal with her anymore, so they decide to put her in this place that's basically like a group home for people with schizophrenia, but it's not a very good one. It's people, they just basically where they dump their kids. These people weren't doing that. They were putting her there because they couldn't do what was best for her, and they thought it would help, and then she ends up running away, and they're going after her and stuff. But this thing, what it brought up in me that I didn't realize is it brought up what the family of the patient was going through. And I didn't really think about this, and it kind of helps me be more empathetic towards my parents, that when it's me, I was going through it, I was having problems, so I was all focused on, this is me, it's horrible for me. I didn't think to what it might have been putting my family through. And and if my family's watching this, I'm sorry that my mental illness has caused everybody problems. And it's like, basically, if I would have made sure I was on medication and stayed on medication, for the most part, I'm good. I still have a horrible temper, which I need to work on. But like I said, it made me think, made me see it from a different perspective of, I've been the one who's the star of the movie here, the person who has the illness, and it's not that I'm not a empathetic person, and I don't care about people. It's, I really didn't see it from that. I was in the inside looking out, and yeah, everybody suffers with people with problems, and it was sad. And they're basically at the thing was expecting that their daughter is not going to have a normal life, when before she got sick she was going to have, she probably was going to be this great architect or whatever. You know, it's just a fictional character, but anyways, she could have been something great, but then she got sick, and that happens a lot. And at least, unfortunately, for some people are able to get through that and still be successful. Like Tim Burton's bipolar. He manages to direct movies, you know. Some people, if they enjoy what they're doing, they can do it. Some people, even if they enjoy it, they can't do it, you know. But this is the main thing. And another thing it showed us, like, okay, the lady told her friend what was going on, and then I thought the friend would come and be supportive. Of course, we got to remember this is the 80s, and you think there's stigma now. There was a lot of stigma against mental illness. All of a sudden, they didn't want to have anything to do with her, and blah, blah, blah. And she's something to be afraid of. And it's like, how can you be so empty of compassion? Anyways, the good thing is that they do find a place. It's bad because this place, they'd have to wait for years to get her in there, but they find a place where they have schizophrenics, and the guy who's telling her is showing how they get them busy, and they help, and eventually they'll get jobs and stuff. And then she said, well, how long have you been there? He's like, well, I've been working here for 3 years, but I've been schizophrenic for 10 years, and this guy's stable, and he has a job there. So here she is. It's like, it's bad because she's like, well, it might be years before they get her into a place like that, but it gives the family hope that, yes, she can have some of a semblance of a normal life. And my mother's told me that before, that she wanted me to have somewhat of a normal life, and my girlfriend Becky, together we have a pretty normal life. We live together. Sure, we don't we don't really have much money for anything. We're kind of poor, but we're living, and we do have things. We do have internet and Netflix. Hey, that's all we need. Who needs who needs cable TV? I don't like live television anyways. I mean, as long as I got that, then hey, everything's cool. Not really. I mean, it sucks being poor, and it sucks having an illness that's a constant. And that's the thing. That's what they told her. The person, well, is there a cure? No, there's no cure, but there's treatments. And that's the problem. There's most of these mental illnesses. There's some things, like, I don't know for sure. I've heard that a lot of PTSD can be cured through therapy and stuff. I don't know if that's true or not. But other stuff like chemical imbalances and stuff, they can treat it, but you're going to have it your whole life. And then that's the thing with me is I'll never be cured. I'll never be what I was or what I could have been before I was sick. But I'm alive. I do have some things of some remnants of a normal life. And I'm just glad to be as sane as I am. I mean, obviously, I'm medicated, and this is to people out there. I know you might, if you have an illness, your medicine might make you feel funny, or you might not want to take it because if you're bipolar, you might not want to take it because you like the highs you get. Well, the lows come after that, and they crash you down, and it's better to take your medicine, or it's gonna be bad. It always is. I'll bring this up. There was a guy in the 80s that had he had became semi-famous. He could have been more famous. Shit, I can't even think of the guy's name. I hate it when I do this. Well, anyways, this guy who I'm talking about, whose name I can't think about. Daniel Johnston, that's the name. Daniel Johnston is schizophrenic, and he has a few albums out. He had like one album that was like studio done. But anyways, Daniel Johnston could have been like bigger than big. Like he could have been maybe not quite as big as Nirvana ended up being, but because he wasn't that good, but he was good. But he had toured in well, I guess it was the 90s he toured. He toured in the early 90s. He toured with, what are they called? Sonic Youth. He toured with Sonic Youth. And what they didn't know is that he felt that he performed better when he stopped taking his medicine. And he had some good shows. But then on their tour, because he's schizophrenic and he didn't take his medication, and I have a stupid cat that needs to shut up. Anyways, so because he didn't take his medication, he ended up lost in New York and all out of his mind, and they had to send him back to his parents. And so basically, and there's a lot of bad things. Basically, he went off his meds, and he could have been famous, but he ruined it. He ruined it all. Because he wouldn't take his medicine, and this cat needs to shut up. And anyways, so, well, this movie is about schizophrenia and mental illness, just in general, and it's something we really need to discuss. It's not something to laugh at. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something to see for what it is. It's an illness that these mental illnesses affect millions of Americans. Probably billions of people on this earth. And there's treatments, the pills, and obviously therapy is good, and you got to do a little bit of self-help in there too to try to help fight the problems the best you can. I'm bipolar, so I got the mood swings, but for the most part, even with my mood swings, without medication, I'm severely depressed. I'm very depressed. I'm probably just as angry, but I dealt with depression a lot, and I went for years without taking medication because I had bad experiences with some of the medication until it just got too bad to where I just had to be on medication, and I wanted to try to fight it myself, but it just gets worse. If it's untreated, it gets worse. Even if it's treated, it sometimes gets worse. But anyways, this movie is called Strange Voices from 1987, starring Nancy McKeon and Valerie Harper. This is on Netflix right now, so if you want to check it out, put Strange Voices on your queue. It's pretty good. It's pretty good for a TV movie, for a movie that's actually a realistic look at mental illness, and this is something that people need to be educated on. I mean, because we're making more advances now, but mental health is behind. It's way behind the rest of the medical world, because even as recent as the 50s, people just used to sweep their kids under the rug. They put people just in these asylums where they were treated horrible just so they wouldn't be embarrassed by it, because they still today, it's something to be worried about. It's something to be embarrassed of, to be ashamed of. Well, no, it isn't. It's something that needs to be treated. It's something that people need to look at people who are mentally ill with compassion and not laugh at them or be afraid of them. I mean, obviously, at a certain extent, some people can be pretty scary, but this is the whole thing. They're not scary. They're not funny. They're sick. They need treatment. They need help. A huge chunk of the homeless people, a big chunk of the homeless are basically, most of them are mentally ill. A lot of them are schizophrenic. A lot of them are veterans, especially Vietnam veterans. There's a lot of people suffering. A lot of Vietnam vets that are suffering from PTSD so bad that they're sleeping on benches, man. That's not funny. And there's probably people that beat up homeless people doing this thing. Don't do that. That guy might have been what you would call a hero. And that's another thing. I'm calling out the Republicans on this, because they want to deal with the homeless population by meaning they want to sweep them under the rug somewhere, not in their town, and ship them somewhere else, because they don't give a crap about homeless people. Oh, they're horrible. Nobody wants them around. Wait a second. If there's a big chunk of them that are veterans, aren't they heroes, Mr. Republican? Aren't they heroes? If they're heroes, then shit needs to be done, right? I don't really consider soldiers heroes, but I was a soldier. I respect soldiers. I just see them as normal people, because I was a soldier. I'm a normal guy. Well, I guess I'm a little nuts, but no, I'm a little bit weird, and I do have a mental illness. I'm not really nuts. I'm just a little off, as they would say. But anyways, I'm just really going wrong with this. That's because I'm mentally ill. It's nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be ashamed of. Because of this movie, I need to be more compassionate to family, specifically my parents, who I lived with so long, that I know I put through a lot of crap, and now that I've seen this and seen it from a different point of view, I'm sorry you guys had to go through this, that it wasn't just me going through it, and it wasn't just my parents either. It was my whole family. It was everyone around me. And it's not my fault for being sick. I probably could have gone on medication sooner. I probably could have done things like not gotten rid of my medication and then flipped out. I just really wish I could go back and do things differently, and I'm kind of sad. This movie is a little bit depressing. I'm just kind of sad. I feel a little guilty, because not that I did anything wrong, but that I just feel guilty that I didn't realize how much it's something that everyone around me is going through, is dealing with. Nobody wants to know that their kid is sick. At least, well, obviously, it could be worse. I didn't have cancer or any deathly illness like that or anything, but I have something that's never going to go away, and my family's had to deal with my struggles, and just the fact of knowing someone's suffering and knowing that besides putting them on medication that there's really nothing you can do because there is no cure. You can't push a button. Like, if I was a parent and I had a kid who was sick, who was mentally ill like this, and I would kind of feel it was my fault because, you know, I know I'm sick or whatever, but I'm not having kids anyways, so it doesn't matter. But the thing is I would feel helpless in the fact that I can't cure my child, that there's no cure for this, that it's just, I'm not dying, they're not dying, but they're gonna suffer their whole lives, and around them's gonna suffer. Well, anyways, fourth time I said it, Strange Voices, 1987, Nancy McKeon, Valerie Harper, find it on Netflix. Till then, I'll see you guys.